My child, tonight something unusual is happening, and I need you to stay with me, because what you are about to hear is not ordinary. There is a reason your eyes stopped here at this exact moment. Out of millions of places, millions of videos, millions of distractions, somehow you arrived here. That is what makes this moment strange. Because sometimes life becomes quiet right before something unforgettable begins. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Somewhere beyond what your eyes can see, a secret conversation happened. Not in a crowded room, not in a place filled with noise. This conversation happened in complete stillness, and the most shocking part is that every word spoken was about you. Yes, you. If you had heard those words yourself, if you had stood there and listened for only a few moments, your heartbeat would have changed, because the very first question spoken was simple, yet powerful. Enough to stop everything, a voice asked. Are they ready yet? Silence followed, deep silence. Then another voice answered quietly. They are closer than they think. My beloved child, think about that for a moment. Closer than they think. How many times have you looked at your life and felt like nothing was changing? How many times did you feel like your story was standing still while everybody else seemed to move forward? Maybe you smiled while carrying questions nobody ever heard. Maybe you kept walking while secretly wondering if your moment would ever arrive. But what if things were moving even when you could not see them? What if invisible things were changing while visible things looked exactly the same? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The conversation continued, and the first voice asked another question. Do they still doubt themselves? The answer came immediately. Sometimes. Then another question came. Do they still wonder why certain things happened in their life? Again, the answer came, yes. Silence returned. Then suddenly words were spoken that changed everything. They still do not realize their value. My beloved child, how many times did you underestimate yourself? How many times did you compare your journey to someone else's journey? How many times did you think you were late, forgotten, or left behind? You watched others smiling, succeeding, reaching places you wanted to reach. And maybe quietly you asked yourself, when will my moment come? Then, suddenly the conversation changed completely. A voice spoke softly and said, they think they are waiting. But they do not know that someone is also waiting for them. Everything became silent again, because suddenly the meaning became deeper. You thought you were searching for something meaningful. You thought you were carrying questions alone. But somewhere, someone else was carrying a feeling they could not explain. A strange feeling that somebody important existed. A feeling that somebody was getting closer. A feeling that somebody they had never met already mattered to them in ways they could not. Understand. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the conversation became even deeper. The first voice asked, what do they notice about them? The answer came quietly. They notice the heart. They notice the strength hidden behind difficult days. They notice the kindness given when nobody is watching. They notice the way they continue walking, even after disappointment. My beloved child, understand something very important. Clears throat. People often believe they are noticed for the wrong things. Appearances change. Circumstances change. Seasons change. But hearts leave marks that time cannot erase. Then another sentence was spoken, and these words carried something powerful. They almost gave up once. They almost stopped believing. They almost accepted less than what they deserved. Silence followed. Then suddenly another voice answered, but they kept going. Those words changed everything. They kept going after confusion. They kept going after disappointment. They kept going after nights where nothing made sense. They kept going after moments where they wanted answers, but found silence instead. And my beloved child, you kept going too. Then finally, the first voice asked the question that changed everything. What happens when they finally meet? Silence. No answer. No sound. It felt like even time itself stopped moving. And then finally the answer came. They will feel something familiar, not because they have seen each other before, not because they have spoken before, but because hearts sometimes recognize what eyes have never seen. My beloved child, maybe that strange feeling inside you was never random. Maybe it was never imagination. Maybe every delay, every turn, every unexpected moment was guiding your story somewhere greater than you ever realized. Don't skip, stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because maybe at this very moment, someone connected to your future is unknowingly moving one step closer toward you. A strange feeling began growing in the silence, as if the conversation you were never supposed to hear had reached a moment too powerful to remain hidden. It felt as if every word spoken until now was only leading toward one revelation. My beloved child, stay close, because this is where everything changes. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The first voice returned, but this time it sounded different. It sounded softer, deeper, almost emotional. Then it asked, do they know that somebody has already noticed them? The second voice answered immediately, no. Silence followed again. Then another question appeared. Do they know somebody already feels connected to something they cannot explain? Again, the answer came, no. Suddenly, everything became quiet because the next words carried a feeling impossible to ignore. They believe they are invisible in moments where they are actually unforgettable. My beloved child, think about that. How many times did you enter a room and feel unnoticed? How many times did you walk away from moments believing you left no impact? How many times did you smile while wondering if anyone truly understood your heart? Maybe you thought people forgot you. Maybe you thought your presence never mattered. Maybe you thought your story looked ordinary. But the secret conversation revealed something shocking. They do not see themselves the way others see them. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then the conversation became even deeper. The first voice asked, what is the thing that makes them different? There was silence for a moment, and then the answer came slowly. They carry light in places where they do not even realize darkness exists. Silence again. They continue caring after disappointment. Silence again. They continue hoping after confusion. Silence again. They continue walking after moments that could have stopped them completely. My beloved child, some people become hard after difficult seasons. Some people stop believing. Some people stop trusting beautiful things. But you kept moving. You kept believing there was something meaningful waiting somewhere beyond what you could see. And maybe you thought nobody noticed that strength, but somebody did. Then suddenly the first voice asked the question nobody expected. What was the first thing their soulmate said? Complete silence filled everything. It felt like time itself stopped moving. Then finally the answer came. The first words were not about appearance. The first words were not about success. The first words were not about anything temporary. The voice paused. Then finally they said, I feel like I have been searching for them without knowing who they are. Everything became still because suddenly the conversation no longer felt distant. Suddenly it felt personal. Suddenly, it felt like invisible pieces were connecting. My beloved child, imagine someone carrying a feeling they cannot explain. Imagine somebody waking up with a strange belief that someone important exists somewhere in this world. Imagine somebody feeling like their story is incomplete while not knowing why. Now imagine discovering that feeling was connected to you all along. Don't skip, stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you because the next part of the conversation revealed something even more shocking. The voice said softly, "One day they will realize that every wrong turn was secretly leading them toward the right person." And at that moment, everything changed forever. A quiet shift moved through the unseen conversation, as if the story itself had stopped breathing. For a moment, every word spoken until now felt like it had been leading toward a hidden door. And suddenly that door slowly began to open. My beloved child, keep listening carefully, because this is where the mystery becomes deeper than before. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The first voice spoke again, but this time there was curiosity in it. Tell me something. When they finally cross paths, what will happen? The second voice did not answer immediately. Silence filled everything. It felt like even the stars had paused, waiting for what would come next. Then, finally, the answer arrived. At first, they will think it is a normal moment. Silence. At first, they will think it is just another ordinary day. Silence again. But hearts notice things before minds understand them. My beloved child, have you ever met someone and felt something you could not explain? Not because of what they said, not because of how they looked, but because something inside you suddenly felt calm. Something inside you suddenly felt familiar. A strange feeling saying, "I do not know why, but this feels important," clears throat. Maybe you ignored it before. Maybe you thought it meant nothing. But the conversation revealed something surprising. Some connections introduce themselves to the heart before they introduce themselves to the eyes. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then the first voice asked another question. What will they notice first? The answer came softly. Not perfection, silence. Not achievements. Silence again. Not things that disappear with time. Then finally, they will notice peace. Complete silence followed after those words. Peace. Such a small word, yet such a powerful thing. Because people spend years searching for things they think they need. More success, more attention. More answers, more certainty. But sometimes what the heart quietly searches for is peace. A feeling that says, you do not need to pretend here. A feeling that says, you do not need to become someone else here. A feeling that says, you can finally breathe. The first voice became quieter and asked, did they almost miss each other before? Suddenly, there was silence again. Long silence. Then came an answer nobody expected. Yes. Everything became still. Yes. They came close before. Timing moved differently. Moments passed. Paths almost touched. My beloved child. Think about that. How many moments in life felt ordinary? How many faces passed by without meaning? How many days looked normal? What if some moments were much closer to your story than you ever realized? What if certain delays were not rejections at all? What if they were simply protecting the perfect moment from arriving too early? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then suddenly the first voice asked one final question. What truth will surprise them the most? Silence. No answer. Nothing moved. Then slowly, gently, the answer came. The truth that surprises them the most is that they were never walking alone. They thought they were searching alone. They thought they were waiting alone. They thought they were hoping alone. But while they were looking toward tomorrow, tomorrow was already looking back at them. My beloved child, the conversation was becoming clearer now, and the biggest revelation had still not arrived, because what was about to be revealed next would make every delay, every question, and every unexpected turn suddenly make sense. A final wave of silence moved through the hidden conversation, and Clear's throat. This silence felt different. It did not feel empty. It felt full, full of answers, full of truth, full of something that had been waiting from the very beginning. My beloved child, stay with me now, because this is the moment everything has been leading toward. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The first voice spoke one last time, and the question carried more emotion than before. Tell me, what happens on the day they finally understand everything? Suddenly, there was silence. Not ordinary silence. The kind of silence that feels like the world itself is listening. The kind of silence that makes seconds feel longer. Then, finally, the answer arrived slowly. They will look back. They will look back at every delay. They will look back at every unexpected turn. They will look back at every moment they thought life was working against them. Silence. Then the voice continued, and for the first time they will understand. My beloved child, imagine reaching a day where every confusing piece suddenly fits together. Imagine reaching a moment where every unanswered question suddenly begins answering itself. Imagine realizing that what felt like waiting was never waiting at all. Imagine realizing that what felt like distance was actually movement, because the truth hidden inside the secret conversation was never about loss. It was never about missed chances. It was never about being forgotten. It was about timing. The voice continued speaking. They thought doors were closing, but new paths were opening. They thought chapters were ending, but a greater chapter was beginning. They thought they were standing still, but invisible steps were moving everything forward. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then suddenly, the first voice asked one final question. What was the biggest thing their soulmate said about them? Everything stopped. No sound, no movement, nothing. Then finally the answer came. They said, I hope they never lose the beautiful parts of themselves while waiting for me. Silence. They said, I hope they keep believing. Silence again. They said, I hope they never think they are forgotten. My beloved child, feel those words. Somewhere inside this hidden conversation was a truth you never expected. You were never forgotten. You were never invisible. You were never behind. Maybe the reason your story moved differently was because ordinary timing was never meant for you. Maybe every unexpected moment was quietly placing pieces together. Maybe every delay carried purpose. Maybe every unanswered question was guiding you toward an answer bigger than you imagined. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. And now the final truth appeared. The voice spoke one last sentence. The person they are waiting for is not simply entering their life. They are entering the part of the story that was always meant for them. And suddenly everything became quiet. Because some truths do not need louder words. Some truths simply stay in the heart long after the story ends. A mysterious calm settled over everything, but this time the silence did not feel like an ending. It felt like the moment before a sunrise appears, the moment where darkness quietly steps aside because something beautiful is getting ready to arrive. My beloved child, listen carefully, because what happened next in that secret conversation was the part nobody expected to hear. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The first voice returned once again, and now there was wonder in it. It asked softly, after everything, after all the waiting, all the questions, all the unexpected turns, what will surprise them the most? For a moment there was absolutely nothing. No answer, no sound, only stillness. Then suddenly the second voice spoke. What surprises them the most will not be who arrives. Silence. It will be who they become. Everything stopped, because suddenly the meaning changed. My beloved child, maybe all this time you thought the story was about reaching someone. Maybe you believed the journey was only about finding a person. But what if the journey had another purpose hidden inside it? What if every difficult season was quietly shaping parts of you that could not grow any other way? The voice continued. They learned patience, they learned strength, they learned how to keep hope alive. They learned how to continue walking even when answers stayed hidden. They learned how to protect kindness even during confusing moments. Then silence returned, because the next words carried a truth nobody saw coming. They thought they were waiting for love, but love was also preparing them. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. My beloved child, think about those words. There were moments you thought nothing important was happening. There were days that felt ordinary. There were nights where your questions felt larger than your answers. But maybe behind every ordinary day, invisible things were moving quietly. Maybe pieces were arranging themselves while you thought everything was standing still. Then, suddenly, the first voice asked another question. When they finally look back, what will they see? The answer came immediately. They will see protection where they once saw rejection. They will see direction where they once saw confusion. They will see purpose where they once saw delay. Everything became quiet again, because suddenly even old memories began feeling different. Moments that once felt painful suddenly looked meaningful. Moments that once felt empty suddenly looked necessary. Moments that once felt random suddenly looked connected. My beloved child, perhaps there were things removed from your life not because you were losing something, but because your story was making room for something greater. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then finally, the first voice asked the final question of the secret conversation. What will they feel at the exact moment everything makes sense? Silence, long silence. Then came the answer. They will smile, they will become quiet. And deep inside their heart, they will say, so this is why nothing happened too early. So this is why nothing happened too late. So this is why every step mattered. My beloved child, maybe the biggest surprise was never hidden in the future. Maybe the biggest surprise was discovering that you were never lost. You were never forgotten. Clear's throat. You were never walking without purpose. Because while you were wondering where your story was going, your story already knew exactly where it was leading you all along.